The number one thing that English learners ask me is, how can I improve my speaking? So today I'm giving you my top 10 tips to improve your spoken English. These things are what my successful students do in order to reach their goal of speaking English well, speaking naturally and confidently. Let's get started. Spoken English tip number 1 is to learn phrases, not just individual words. If you only study individual English words, this is what happens. When you need to speak, you have to think a lot in order to combine the individual words in the right order, using the right grammar, and in a way that makes sense. That's way too much work. But if you focus on learning phrases instead, then you will have ready answers and responses for any situation. No need to overthink. Focusing on phrases will help you speak English in complete sentences more naturally. Spoken English tip number 2 is to listen to more English. Most English learners read too much and listen too little. But when babies and children learn English, they listen first and then speak and later learn to read and write. Remember, half of a conversation is hearing the other person, and if you don't understand what they're saying, how can you respond correctly? So if you want to improve your English speaking, spend more time listening. Plus, listening more will also help you naturally improve your pronunciation and reduce your accent because you have more exposure to a native English speaker. Spoken English tip number 3 is to practice speaking by yourself, both reading aloud and speaking spontaneously. When you speak English, there are two main difficulties. First, there's the mental difficulty of thinking of the English words or phrases to say, and there's the physical difficulty of pronouncing the English words and phrases correctly. So when you read English texts out loud, that will help you with the second part, the physical part of pronunciation, without having to worry about the first part, trying to think about what to say. When you read aloud, it will train your mouth and lips to pronounce English words more easily. Speaking English spontaneously by yourself is also extremely helpful in developing your ability to put your ideas into words without the pressure of a real conversation. You can just look at a list of questions and respond out loud in English, just speaking alone in the privacy of your own home. That might feel a little silly, but remember, this is great training for your spoken English, and there's nobody to hear your mistakes. So make sure to practice this way. Speak English aloud by yourself. Spoken English tip number 4 is to practice thinking in English. Do you tend to think in your native language and then translate it into English in your head before speaking? Don't do this, because it often results in sentences that don't sound natural in English, because the sentence structure is often different in English and your native language. Also, it takes way too much time to constantly think and translate when you're in the middle of a conversation. So one of the biggest secrets to speaking English fluently is to learn how to think directly in English. The great news is that this is a skill you can develop with practice, and you can practice anytime. While you're on the bus, while you're waiting in line at the supermarket, while you're just sitting at home. Try practicing thinking in English for a few minutes today to start building this habit. Spoken English tip number 5 is to get an online conversation partner. How can you practice speaking English if you have nobody to talk with? Well, there are conversation exchange websites where you can find a speaking partner who speaks English but wants to learn your native language. So then you can schedule a conversation session and speak half the time in English and then half the time in your native language so that both of you can practice and help each other. And it's good to have someone who can help you correct any errors in a relaxed, low-pressure situation. I'll put some links to conversation exchange websites in the description of this video so that you can find someone to practice speaking with online. So if you don't have a conversation partner, get one today. It will really help you practice your speaking. Spoken English tip number 6. Remember that communication is more important than grammar. Do you tend to get nervous when speaking because you're afraid of making a mistake? Remember that the number one goal of speaking English is to communicate. So grammar is important, but it is less important than communication when speaking English. Communication is more important than grammar. Here's a very simple example. If you say something like, "Yesterday I go to party on beach," that sentence is not grammatically correct. It should be, "Yesterday I went to a party on the beach." But it does successfully communicate your message despite the mistakes. And an English speaker will understand you. So it's better to say something a little bit wrong and still communicate successfully than to stay quiet and say nothing. Also, keep in mind that the grammar of spoken English is more flexible than the grammar of written English, especially when it comes to sentence structure. So just don't worry too much about grammar when speaking. Spoken English tip number 7 is to speak slowly. Trying to speak English too fast won't make you sound like a native speaker. Instead, it can actually make it harder for the other person to understand you. When you speak English slowly, it has two advantages. It gives you more time to think of what to say, and it also makes your speech clearer so the other person can understand. Then, over time and with practice, your spoken English will get faster naturally. Spoken English tip number 8. If you forget a word, use other words. It's very common for English learners to stop a sentence in the middle because they've forgotten the word they want to use. But you should try to be creative, because the other person can help you if you describe the word you want by using other English words. For example, one of my students was describing a recipe and he didn't know the word for one of the vegetables. So he said, "It's white and like a ball, and when you cut it, you cry." I said, "It's an onion." So you can see that my student communicated successfully by using different words, even though he didn't know the specific word he wanted to use. And then I was able to understand him and help him find the right word in English. Spoken English tip number 9, relax and have a positive, confident attitude. If you make a mistake or you forget a word when you're speaking English, it's okay. Don't be nervous or afraid. The person who you're talking to will most likely understand and be patient with you. But if you are insecure, if you're not confident when you're speaking English, then it will become even more difficult for you to speak. So don't say things like, "My English is terrible," or "Sorry for my bad English." Those are negative comments and they're not helpful to you. Instead, think positively. Think, "I can speak English," before every conversation in order to give yourself more confidence and help you speak better. Spoken English tip number 10 is to learn real English phrases for everyday life. You can improve your speaking a lot faster when you take an English course that focuses on real phrases that we use frequently in conversations. My Everyday English Speaking course is a simple, fun, and effective way to learn these phrases and expressions and improve your speaking ability. Each lesson in the course is based on conversations, and when you read and listen to the dialogues, that will help you improve your understanding. Then the next part of the lesson explains and expands on the phrases you heard in the conversations. So you'll learn new expressions, and I'll show you how to use them. There are lots of practice phrases that you can listen to and repeat after me to improve your English speaking. Finally, each lesson has quizzes to help you test yourself and remember those new phrases. And there are also opportunities for you to send in recordings of yourself speaking and get feedback and comments from the Espresso English teaching team. In the Everyday English Speaking course, you'll learn what to say in everyday situations like traveling, shopping, socializing, talking on the phone, and much more. You'll learn how to have better conversations in English, how to talk about your opinions, how to give advice and make requests. You'll be able to express yourself better, make connections between your ideas, and use interesting phrases in your speaking. There are 2 levels of the Everyday English Speaking course. Level 1 will teach you phrases for very practical situations in daily life, from the supermarket to the restaurant to the airport, conversations with friends, and so many more. And Level 2 focuses on more advanced conversations that are full of the phrasal verbs, idioms, and informal expressions native speakers often use. You can get a discount if you buy both levels of the course together. These are the most popular courses at Espresso English, and other students describe them as very good with clear explanations, useful for daily life, brilliant, warm, nice, and concrete, and totally worth it. You can click on the link in the video description for more information and to sign up for the Everyday English Speaking courses. I hope you'll join today so that you can start improving your speaking fast. But make sure to put all 10 tips from this lesson into practice because they'll really help your spoken English grow and develop. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.